Welcome everyone. I'm here today with Boss DeBar, the Project Shrink, and you want to ask me about Kanban today?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Ask away.
And we're here at the conference, at the PMI conference in Washington, and he's going on and on and on about Kanban. So I'm really interested on that. So you recently started using Kanban in your projects, correct?
Yep.
First, why did you started doing that? And what? What is Kanban, or what is the thing you're using?
Sure. Let me clip this on here. So, essentially, Kanban comes from what I understand, it comes from lean manufacturing principles applied to projects. And there's lean project management, and I think Kanban is kind of a part of that. So, for me, I started it with one of my teams about 2 months ago, and on the smaller team, kind of as a trial basis, because I learned about it. I actually was on Pavel Brodinsky's blog, I think I pronounced that right, which is software projects, and he's been blogging quite a bit about Kanban. He started using it in the last year or so, I believe. So I thought it was really interesting. I wanted to give it a shot. So the first thing that I did was implement a personal Kanban board for myself, just to manage my own work. And then, like I said, I moved it to my smaller team and tried that out. But essentially all it is really simple. It's just a board where you've got essentially mine has four columns. There's a backlog, there's an on deck, there's an in work, and then a done. And you set up rules and so that you can only have so many things in work and on deck at any given time. And it can be 1 to 2 things depending. I think 1 is probably the goal, so that you've got your team focused on one thing at a time and they don't move on to something else unless that thing is done. So it's essentially just a board, and I'm using Post-it stickies for my co-located team, and we just move the work from left to right going across the board, and it's one of those deceptively simple things that actually has a lot of benefit to it. And just some of the benefits, I'm using the stickies, and they're different colored stickies, so each person has their own color, is how I'm doing it right now. So they can look at the board at any time, and I can see what's on their plate, or they can see what's on their plate, what's coming up next, those types of things. So when it comes to resource contention, or we need to reprioritize things because something has changed in priority, or an emergency has come up or something like that, we can easily just go to the board and start rearranging stickies in order to do that. And in the backlog, the way that I've got it set up, towards the upper right-hand corner are the high priority things, and as you go further away from that, they're lower priority, so we can negotiate that way. So there's already been a couple times where I've had individuals on my team that another team needs to come and use this person for something for a short time. And so the first thing that I do is walk over to the Kanban board with the other project manager and say, okay, well, this is what's on their plate right now, so let's talk about, what the priority of this new thing is versus what's already on their plate. So it really helps to manage the drive-bys that you normally get when you're managing projects where, all of a sudden something's an emergency and it needs to get done. It kind of makes you stop and really think about it. Is this really an emergency? Is it more important than what this person is doing right now? And you can kind of shift things around and everything. So in general, that's kind of what it is.
And you mentioned that's for your co-located team, so you have also a virtual component.
Yes.
And
so
how do you do that?
So right now, I went ahead and, like I said, I piloted it with a smaller team first, and after about a month, I asked them, does it seem like this is working pretty good? Do you guys want to go back to the way we were doing it? They loved it, so they wanted to keep doing it. And so I decided, okay, great. And then I introduced it to the other team, and everybody looks at me like I'm crazy at first because I come in with my stickies and everything, and they're like, Josh has lost his mind. But so with my other team, I do have one person who's not co-located; they're remote, And I decided I've been searching for tools online that we could use for the Kanban board that were electronic. There's lots of great ones out there that are in the cloud. I've got a couple of constraints. One is that I need to have something that's hosted internally so that it's inside the firewall. I work for a government agency, and so it's it really needs to be something secure. We don't want to have system names or anything like that out in the open in any way, shape, or form. And then the other thing is it's something that I need to be able to implement on the cheap. So I'm looking for open source software, something like that. So in the meantime, we went ahead and implemented Kanban with my second team. We did it physically with a physical board, and then I've got a Post-it note tool that's made by Microsoft that I use to coordinate the offsite member. Okay. So they kind of have their own personal Kanban board right now, and they'll save it to a file. It's a CSV file, and I'll open it up. So they IM me and say, I've got an update for the Kanban board, or I need a new task on the Kanban board or something like that. So her and I kind of coordinate it together, but for everyone else, we're located at the same place. So
and how do you get started? So if somebody's watching now and it says, "Wow, got to use that," how do you start?
Well, I think I'd recommend that you start with your own personal Kanban first. So do a Google search for personal Kanban, and you'll get some ideas there. But like I said, when I started mine, it was just very simple. It was I actually used a little whiteboard that I had, and I just made 4 lanes. I made a big backlog lane, a little tiny on-deck lane, and a little tiny in-work lane, and then a big done lane. So I've got backlog, on-deck, in-work, and done. Those 4 lanes. And I just started writing down tasks on sticky notes. Now, a lot of people who are doing Kanban are going to be, in an agile framework, and so they'll be doing user stories or, minimum marketable features, things like that. I'm using it with tasks right now, but at some point, I think we probably will start moving towards like a minimum marketable feature type thing. But with the personal Kanban, that's definitely a good place to start. And it's awesome because when something new comes up, right, and I say, I got to remember to do that, even if it's something that's going to take me 2 minutes to do, but I can't do it right now, like, I have to wait until tomorrow to do it because I need to talk to this person and they're not in the office, I write it down quick and I put it on my Kanban so I don't forget about it. So works pretty well.
Okay. Do you still use it?
Yes, I do. I'm still using the personal Kanban for my work with PM Student. I have a personal Kanban there. I had a personal Kanban at my workplace in addition to the team one, and now those have melded together. So all of my stuff is on my team's Kanban board. So I've actually got 2 Kanban boards next to my desk, one for one of the teams and one for the other team, and my stuff is kind of spread out across those 2 teams. So.
All right. Oh, great. Thanks, and I think we should get some coffee.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.